Well, it's a new year and so much has changed. Actually, for the past couple of years, I was intentional about not setting New Year's resolutions. I'm kind of the type of person who loves a fresh start, but I would find myself completely overwhelmed when I couldn't achieve a goal that I set my mind on. And I am a big time overdoer and overcommitter. I will likely say yes anytime something is asked of me, and I am working really hard to change that. I loved not having the pressure of a New Year's resolution weighing on my back this year, and my year, and for the past couple of years, I guess, my year would begin the same way that it ended, and I don't know, I like that. It was so much easier moving into a new season without feeling like I had to do this like to-do list that felt like it was 50 miles long. But this year is a little different for me, not in the sense that I have a big goal or resolution that I'm chasing, but at the same time, it kind of is. So 10 years ago, I started a business, a few actually, and it really began my senior year of high school when graduation was quickly approaching and I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. My guidance counselors had pushed the idea of 4 year colleges, as they always do, as if that's the only option in life, right? If there's one thing I feel like our generation has learned, or this newer upcoming generation, and something that I will definitely be putting into my kids' brains, it's that you have other options besides college after you graduate. I just feel like that's not talked about very much. That's not the norm, is to, that's kind of the trajectory society tells us we need to go. You do school and then you go to college and then you get a 9 to 5 job. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the path that you chose to take or do choose to take. I just never want my kids to feel like that's the only path, or that if they don't take that path, then it's wrong or bad or anything like that. But anywho, all that to say, at the same time, kind of at the end of my senior year of high school, the manager of the barn that I was boarding my horses at told me that I should start doing riding lessons. So I did, and I really didn't think all that much of it. I just figured it was a good way to make some extra money doing something that I enjoyed. But very quickly, that then turned into him telling me that I should try my hand at training horses and offering like tune ups for people, which was something I never thought I was qualified for. But he did see the work that I'd put into my own horse and he saw potential in me. And I'm so grateful for that because I took that idea and I ran with it. And funny enough, there is such thing as horse college, believe it or not. And after 2 years at a local JC, I attended this horse school where I majored in equine studies with a focus in horse training. And after that, my business really began and took off. And I was making a really great income working with these problem horses, as I would call them. And as the story goes, this business is what eventually led me to meeting my husband, Tyler. And in the same time of starting my horse training business, I also had this like passion for photography. So I dabbled in that as well. And little did I know that this business would also take off. So for the past 10 years of my life, I have been capturing the most precious moments of people's lives. I've gotten to be there on wedding days and spend time with people's newborns, document pregnancies, and just watch their kids grow up like right in front of my lens. And while I was so grateful for these intimate moments that I got to be a part of, I knew deep down that I was being pulled away from my own growing family. And after my son was born, I made a decision to scale back on photography. And then the next year, I decided to quit weddings altogether. And now I don't really even know if photography can be considered part of my business anymore, which is really weird to say. I mean, I don't know. That's not totally true because I do still do photo shoots, but I will still whip out my camera from time to time, but it's really only when people reach out to me for a photo shoot. I don't like advertise it on anything anymore, which is very weird. Um, my priority right now is just being a mom and spending time at home with my kids, growing our family, taking care of our animals. And my heart has been begging me to slow down for a while and to cut the workload that I kept putting on myself for like no good reason. And I feel like, I don't know, it's just been such a crazy year of transition. And I've had so many thoughts about it because we're told this lie as women that we need to have backup plans, that we need to prepare financially for the worst. These are things that I have been told a lot. Isn't that kind of funny? That even though you get married and you make this commitment in front of everybody that you know, people still have the nerve to tell you that you need to have a plan B in case that husband of yours cheats on you and leaves you. And I never really understood that. And even when it comes to the possibility of death, people say the same thing. You need to have a plan in case, God forbid he dies. And hear me out on this. I don't know what I will do if something ever happened to Tyler. Like, I've gone down that rabbit hole and I literally, it makes me sick to my stomach to think about because not only would I obviously be devastated and completely heartbroken and my heart would be shattered, but I don't know what I would do. But what I do know is that I will be okay. And I know that God has plans for me and that He will always be my ultimate provider in life. And I'm smart enough to know that if a tragedy would ever occur, I will figure it out, just like I have always done my whole life. But I don't have to have it figured out before it happens. And I will walk that walk if that time ever comes. Most women who were raised in the last, I don't know, 100 years or so have been raised to not place a high value on staying home. Marriage and motherhood are not seen as the biggest priority anymore. We're taught that our value and worth is working outside of the home, working for somebody else, or even when it comes to starting a business, it's seen as more successful and valuable to run that business outside of the home. And there's nothing wrong with earning an income or starting a business, but I think it becomes problematic for women when we consider a paycheck the value of our worth. And homemakers are usually belittled. A lot of people think, wow, she was so smart. She did so well in school. Why is she wasting her life, her intelligence, her education, staying at home? And there's also the what does she do all day comments and the oh, must be nice comments, assuming that stay at home moms are lazy or our husbands are just loaded and we just live the lifestyle of luxury. And, we were all really raised to think and believe these kinds of comments. And if you are a homemaker, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I will say that I have seen a shift in recent years, especially like very recently, where more people are leaning into the homemaker and homesteading lifestyles. And even the people who live in like apartments are growing their own mini gardens and they're canning food and they're cooking from scratch. And it's really such a beautiful transition to see. And I've found myself leaning in now more than ever before. And it's just funny, like where I'm at now in my life, because I drank the Boss Babe Kool-Aid for so long. I was waking up at the crack of dawn to sit down at my computer and start working on my business. I had goals to retire my husband one day and to make seven figures. And I just kind of laugh thinking about those days because I was so stressed and so overwhelmed all the time. But all those feelings made me feel valuable. And when I recently decided to give it all up, I was so scared that people would see me as a failure. They would think that I was quitting because I didn't work, because it didn't work out or something. But that couldn't be further from the truth. And frankly, I don't have to prove myself to anybody. But there's a funny thing about this concept of failure because it's a subjective term and it can mean something different to anybody. Same thing as success, but generally speaking, most people think of failures and successes in regards to money. And I noticed that a lot when we started our trucking business a couple years ago. We invested a lot of money into that business, money that we could have used to buy a house. And I know for a fact that people think we're stupid for that decision, even if they won't say it to us, and that's okay. In my opinion, the only failure you can be is if you never try at all. Um, was I scared when we started this business? And every single time that we have to pour more money into it? Absolutely. But I believe in it and I believe in how it will change our lives if we just keep pushing it. There's like this statistic that says that most businesses will fall apart before the 5 year mark. And they say if you can get past that hump, then you will be doing better than a majority of businesses out there. And we're well on our way. We're several years in now. I think we're going on year three, two and a half, three, something like that. I think we're at 3 years now. That's crazy. Uh, and so anyway, maybe it's two. I don't know, something. But we thought about quitting a lot. Times have been tough, and my sweet husband always asks if I still think it's worth it. And without a shadow of a doubt, I say yes. I believe in this business and I believe in him. And I love that it is something we get to do together. Even if the trucking company fell apart and people said things like, I told you so, it wouldn't faze me because at least we tried. At least we did something that other people were too afraid to do. Because if there's one thing about us and our marriage and just our personalities, it's we will never live our lives based on fear. Any decision we make in life will not be because we were too scared of what would happen. The term fear not is stated in the Bible 365 times, which ironically is how many days there are in a year. So, why would I be afraid when I know that the creator of all things has a plan for me and that he tells me for every single day of the year forever, I should not be afraid? And you should not be afraid either in your own life. So, I know I've blabbed on about a lot of things in this video, but my point in all of this is that in the year 2025, my intentions and resolutions are to lean into family time, to be more present, a more present mother, a more present wife, being more intentional in my kitchen, and making our ranch house a home. So, yes, I do make content, and some might consider this a job, but it's a want to or a get to, not a have to. And I love that for me. It's a creative outlet that I really do enjoy. Plus, documenting our family story and our life is something that I get to pass on to my kids one day, which is really cool. So, think that's all. That's all I got for this video. Just kind of wanted to pour out my heart to you guys, and yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel because there will be more videos like this coming soon. Also, make sure to check out our website and blog for more resources, recipes, and rural lifestyle. And finally, follow us on Instagram for our daily adventures and things. All the links will be in the description below. Until next time, thanks for stopping by our ranch. If anybody is wondering how winter is going for me, I have, first off, I'm like breaking out, which the swelling went down. I was squeezing the absolute heck out of one of these pimples because it was hurting so bad. And I know you're not supposed to do that, but it hurt really bad and I just needed to like release some of that pressure. So I was like squeezing it so much last night, trying to get it to pop, and it like never gave me the satisfying pop. It just like kind of started bleeding and oozing stuff, which was a bummer. But then it was all swollen this morning, so then I had to like try to get the swelling to go down, and then I put Neosporin on it, which helped a lot. But I also had another little one right here that I also tried to pop because I can't stand. I am a popper. I don't care. It's gonna leave these ugly marks on my face. I literally do not have the self-control to not pop them. But also, on that note, I have hit a midlife crisis, so I usually only get my hair cut like literally like once a year, I think, if that. And my ends are like so dead, and I'm like going through one of those phases where my hair just feels really gross right now. It feels just like thin, and it's all staticky a lot lately, which I don't really know what that's all about, but anyway, I just haven't loved it, but I also don't want to go pay $50 for a haircut. So this morning I stood in my bathroom and cut my hair myself with kitchen scissors. Do I know how to cut hair? No. Did I just wing it? Yes. And does it probably look great? No, but it felt better after I did it. So that's how you know you like are married and just don't care anymore, because if it goes bad, one, I'd just probably go chop it all off and get it fixed. But if I was like 18, there's no way in heck I would have cut my own hair, because I'm not gonna risk looking like an idiot. But married with 2 kids, so doesn't matter. Anyway, okay. Do you want to just like spice up this meal a little bit? I like to just, for no apparent reason, throw a couple pieces of cheese on there. We literally just had this in our fridge, so I'm just gonna throw it on there. Like I said, for no apparent reason. And I like to do kind of easy, well, when my husband's not home, I cook easy meals, simple meals, but also I can be a little more just creative and try new things because he's not here. I did think about cutting up some tomatoes because we have those in the fridge, and then some onion and throwing it in there, but I'm kind of over it. So we're just gonna throw this on a plate. Well, I just put the chicken back in the oven to let the cheese melt, and then I'll just leave that in there for a couple more minutes, and then we'll dish up and see if the kids like it. I also just realized I never actually explained what I made for dinner, so I'll put maybe a recipe for the potatoes down in the description if I remember to put it on the blog. But they're super easy. We love sweet potatoes in this house. The kids love them. We love them. So I try to just make them different ways. I specifically did mashed sweet potatoes so that I could feed them to the baby and save some for her. But basically I just boiled the potatoes so they got soft. Basically just stick a fork in them, and then once it goes in super easy, then I just skinned them, stuck them in a pot. I put some butter in there, some brown sugar, a little bit of salt. That's pretty much it. And then just heat it up, mix it all together, mash it up really good. Oh, and then I did do a little bit of milk too. And they're so yummy. I love them. And then I'm basically just baking chicken. So I just had chicken. I sprinkled some seasoning on it. I think just some like seasoning salt, a little bit of garlic, and then I think a tiny bit of basil on there. And then we're just roasting asparagus alongside the chicken in the oven. So same thing, just put a little olive oil on it, sprinkled some seasoning salt, and yeah, we're just roasting it. So easy peasy dinner, but super yummy.